Have you ever had such a big amusement by rascality with your friends that your life gets simply plain and boring later when you don't see them? That is how I live. Every weekend is party and stupidity with friends, and then for the next 5 days I would be working 11 long hours on the job I hate, taking care of people I don't care about while living a life with grotesque memories. I could spend hours talking about my strict and bitter mom, and my negligent dad. I could talk hours about those fucking nut job kids at my school who treated me like a dork, but they were nothing compared to this even bigger devil than the devil himself. Kyle. You see, I've hated Kyle a lot, so fucking a lot that Slucker would do anything to humiliate me. He would also throw my stuff around, hit me, etc. He was also popular at my school, very popular, so popular that the kids and girls in my school would even cheer him when he does those things to me. I prayed every night that something happens to him, something horrible, for example a disease of some sort or even death. I've hated him. But that is not the point of the story. So after the years went by in my goalless and haphazard life, I've found a job that only served me so I can make a living. I've barely had anyone to care about me. I was alone in this world. Only friends cared about me. Even though they lived far away, we would still have fun every weekend. But now I am alone, only me and my shitty memories. But the worst one was my ex-GF. She alongside my friends were the only thing I've cared about. Her name was Sarah. Sarah was the only woman I've knew that loved me and cared about me. I loved her with my full heart. We called each other every day. I loved to be with her even more than with my friends, but one day, she just spontaneously left, without a trace, message, call, etc. She just disappeared. She was the only light in my life, but that light turned off. But on one Friday night, my friend called me and said that I should stop being such a crybaby and have some fun, so he suggested that I come with him for a race with some redneck he found on the street, which I excitedly accepted. We went to an adequate street for that and thought that nothing bad would happen. But I've made a blunder by getting drunk and high. And as we went racing, we were going 140 miles per hour and that redneck accidentally hit us, which resulted us hitting the tree on the side in which my friend was. That was the last thing I remember before waking up at the hospital. I couldn't feel my legs. I looked at medical sister and she melodramatically answered that I was involved into a big car accident. Then I've asked about my friends if they are okay, and she said that I am the only one who survived. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't even speak from the shock I've received. I lost my friends, the last thing remaining that I've cared about. I was left with no GF, friends not future. After leaving the hospital they notified me that I couldn't never walk ever again. Those are meant to be a negative news, but in my opinion those were amazing news. I would at least get more money than I've originally did. But my life still got worse. My depression and misery just increased. Even Squidward was like a radiator of joy and happiness compared to me. I would be even happier in hell. I would fall asleep in the morning and wake up at midnight, and at night all I did was smoke and roll myself in my stupid wheelchair around outside. I've thought dozens of times about rope maxing. But at one night, I was afraid that my tremendous misery might lead me to do that, so I waited till the day and bought myself a PC. I've set it up, and that was the first releasement of dopamine I've experienced in these couple of months. So I would spend whole nights watching and reading creepypastas on YT, Reddit, etc., and play horror games. And I was satisfied with my life for once. It's almost like horror is meant for me. Horror was my only escape from my miserable monotony of my life. And after constantly hearing of dark web, I've went on it. I was nervous at first, but my curiosity was stronger than me, but I've had lots of amusement there. The first video clip I've watched there was lostfamily.exe. It was in colored but very low quality, and there was a skinny man with a bag over his head. He clearly spoke English, but the audio was too horrible to be understandable what he said, and all of a sudden, spontaneously dozens of stink bugs fell on him. At that scene I was disgusted. But this next scene that came didn't make me feel that. There was a goat that was built like a human. Its arms were skinny like typical goat arm, but his were still long like our humans. It extended its arms and moved them around slowly and randomly. It had normal typical goat head and horns. It was wearing a long red robe that covered its legs but not arms, and it was moving slowly around like a drunk person would, all on a pentagram. Their sound on that was some machine working a metal hitting sound. I can't explain it, but that sound was horrifying as well. I was frightened at first, but still extremely interested into those kind of satanic videos. Exploring them was literally my developed goal in life. And after visiting multiple videos, chat rooms, etc. on there, a random chat room spontaneously appeared all over my screen. That chat room, its design was neglected. Just a white background but blue letters. On top, I could see the username of the devil 6663690. The user just spammed "you better do what I tell you," but when I pressed the first key in my attempt to reply, something touched my shoulder. And when I've turned around to see what it was, a strange man with strange look, and here is his description: 6'5", bald, red skin color, shirtless but was wearing extremely wide pants, hooves instead of feet, muscular, normal goat's horns, human facial features, and had pointy stereotypical tail. But he didn't possess that devil behavior. He was mildly chill guy, and at first I was scared of him and started praying immediately, but he just sat on my other chair and looked at his sharp trident, and with his deep and energetic but chill voice he said, "Ah yes, you probably didn't expect me to come, and know that praying won't work if I don't have a bad intention, which is the case now." Here he snapped his fingers and that chat room disappeared from my screen immediately and continued, "And how are you today?" I've nervously replied, "Good." I was sweating as fuck, and he continued, "Ah yes, mortal like you probably thought that I am gonna do harm. No, I've actually came here to help you. It must suck living a life like that. While your GF leaves you for Kyle, I believed him that he would help because he brang up Kyle, but I didn't believe that he stole my GF. So I've told him no way she left for that simpleton, and that Sarah knows better than that." The devil smirked and said, "Let's he." Then he snapped with his fingers and my PC displayed her Instagram. She has fucking uploaded a photography with fucking shirtless Kyle, and the title of that post was "Love my new BF. My life is finally better that I've left that loser and started a relationship with an actual man. I was strongly infuriated and criticized that fucking bitch, and devil replied, do you see a true colors of your pulchritudinous GF that you used to buy gifts of high value? Now, let's make a deal. You will pick up the gun that is in your cabinet and I will teleport you to their house now, kill both of them, and I will teleport you back and I shall gift you with whatever you want. Simple as that. Deal. I've refused and said that killing is way too much for me, but he replied, what a mortal coward you are. You will seriously refuse to kill that whore that was two-timer for someone and that is now with that asshole that bullied you through your childhood. I've accepted because he convinced me to do it with those words. And as we held hands, he teleported me to their property, and as the devil hid behind the bush, I've rolled my wheelchair to their porch with a gun and rang, and Sarah came and shockingly asked what the hell was I doing here, and I've replied nothing and begged her to get Kyle here. She yelled at Kyle to come, but since it was me, Kyle refused to dress and went with the fucking underwear. And as they were shocked and frightened to see me pointing the gun at them, but I simply just from the bottom of my heart couldn't do it and dropped the gun. As Kyle asked what the fuck am I doing here, the devil jumped from the bush. He had a giant disappointment on his face and picked up a gun and shot both of them and just teleported away. Luckily it was the middle of the night, so I've rolled with my wheelchair as fast as possible to the nearest bus station and went back to my home, and here I am right now, writing this extreme and worthy of hearing story.